Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barber, and with me is Jeff Dover, and we're talking football.
We're a couple of football fans that watch college, the NFL. We hope to earn your like and subscribe today. This is our review of the free agency so far in 2026. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, as you can see, I've got the Ravens shirt on. I think the Maxx Crosby move is probably, there's some big ones, but to me, that's got to be the biggest because he's the, as far as I can tell, he's the highest profile player that's moved.
Yeah, I guess in some rankings, people have Hendrickson ranked ahead of him, like in terms of edge rusher. But you're right. That's a big deal.
Do that,
yeah. No, it is. It's really big.
So, where do you want to go? Just talk about what we think. I think the biggest ones are.
Yeah, sure. I think that just to spend a bit of time on Crosby and the Ravens, I think it's perfect. I think it's a great fit. I think that Baltimore historically has had a good defense, but they haven't really been the last couple of years. So I think it's a great fit. I think it's a great fit with that team. I think that having just a bit more pressure on the QB, makes everyone else better in terms of the linebackers and secondary and stuff. So that in terms of having a premier edge rusher is one of the few positions I think that really turn the team around.
Yeah, and you can't start with edge rusher. You have to have quarterback and all the other things in place. Kind of like Myles Garrett makes no difference on Cleveland because they don't have the offense and they don't have the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
The defense is good. He's the best.
Yes.
And it means nothing until you have a quarterback. Kind of like it made sense. Parsons to Green Bay, if Parsons stayed healthy, made them a Super Bowl contender. But again, Crosby on the Raiders, meaningless without a quarterback. TJ Watt on the Steelers, kind of meaningless. And it's been proven over, 10 years now? They go nowhere in the playoffs without a proper quarterback. But you take somebody at that caliber, Maxx Crosby, put him on a team with an MVP quarterback and an MVP, a player of the year style running back like Henry, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, we might have something here, especially with Kyle Hamilton there. The secondary is still a problem.
Yes.
But man, it changes things when you speed up the other team's quarterback, right?
No, exactly. I think that's a great point. And I think that in the NFL, this can happen. You see it more in basketball and stuff because there's only 5 guys on the team. So a free agent can really change things, how it goes around. And it doesn't happen very often in the NFL, but it does happen. It reminds me of when the Cowboys a couple of years ago, I think, what was it, CeeDee Lamb? It was one move that takes the pressure off, who is normally your number 1 receiver is now your number 2 receiver. Number 2 is now number 3. And sometimes one move can make a difference. And I think you're right. I think the Ravens, that one move can make a difference for them. I think another person that's going to be like that is Malik Willis for the QB for Miami. Because every now and then there's a really good backup that gets 2 or 3 good games. I'm thinking of Matt Flynn, also from the Packers before. This is a while ago. That was 15 years ago, but had threw for over 400 yards one game as a backup and then got a big contract. And I think, we talked before about Willis being really good and that's one of the few teams that has 2 QBs to do it. And so now he's going to get his chance to start, and that could really turn things around. I think the team is pretty rough, but that's, I think that could potentially have another big impact.
Yeah, well, there seem to be in complete rebuild mode. Fitzpatrick's gone, Bradley Chubb, Tua was a complete waste of time. I know when you go back through the years with him, he did have the 1 year where the offense was lighting it up, but man,
led the league in passing. So that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then he got paid, and it's been downhill ever since. So it's hard to know. Obviously, in retrospect, you could say, well, it was a waste of time. I still think all of the, speaking of Tua, all of the concussions seem to slow his processing down just enough. And that offense and his game revolves around a lot of anticipation, throwing it before the guy's even out of his break. For him to, he doesn't have the arm strength to make up for it after the fact. For example, Josh Allen can wait and wait and wait and then decide what he wants to do. And he has the arm strength to make up for it with velocity. But Tua needs to be playing mentally, processing at maximum speed at all times. Obviously all quarterbacks need to be processing fast, but him and that offense has to be really quick processing. And I think he's just slightly slower, which is enough to make him utterly ineffective. So it's curious to see what's going to happen in Atlanta. I like the idea that they have 2 lefties.
Yep.
So regardless who's in, the receivers have a feel for it. Also, the offense, like if you have to bootleg or whatever, it all makes sense having 2 lefties versus a lefty and a righty. But I don't think he's the future in Atlanta. I think he's just the reasonable backup once Penix is healthy.
Will stopgap because Penix might not be ready to go right at the beginning of the season. So that's so at least you're starting camp with a QB1. And so I know. Who else do you got on your list for impactful changes or free agent signings?
Romeo Doubs. The Patriots sorely needed a real proper receiver, and this is one of them.
And he's great. He's he's always good.
Yeah. I still think they need more at receiver, but that's a key piece. Maybe they can pick up one in the draft, hopefully. And they need offensive line help. They need some. I think they picked up a free agent offensive lineman. Speaking of the Patriots, but that's where they need. Their defense is all there. What they really need is more receiving help and offensive line. I think the running backs are fine.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that was a great pickup and the right price too.
Yeah,
so it was. Speaking of some crazy prices, I was surprised at the Alec Pierce price and what he ended up getting. So I get that he has a 1,000-yard receiver. Okay, that's not nothing. He was 25, I think. Like he's not exactly grizzled veteran. Hopefully getting into his prime, but he's got 47 catches, and again, most of them are he has a high average. Okay, so I get that, but how many people do you think, if you had to list number of receptions, are ahead of him in terms of 47 receptions?
Well, okay. But on that note, I viewed them as having the 3 best receivers in the league as a grouping of 3. So the fact that they lost one of them, kind of to me, the money got reallocated to Pierce versus because they don't have Tillman anymore, right? He's on the Steelers. So, Downs, Pierce, and Tillman, if you paid attention to the Colts, almost any team would trade what they have for those. For if you could have all 3 of them, that offense was overwhelming. Partly, obviously, they have Taylor and Daniel Jones was a revelation, but those 3 receivers, if you paid attention to the Colts, you're like, oh God, there's no guarding all 3 of these guys. It's impossible.
Yeah, so, I agree, and I think that, but that's what we just talked about. When you have a good receiver 1 or a good receiver 2, like I don't know if Pierce is a standalone receiver 2, or that could be the guy or not. I don't know, but it's anyway. Just to answer my own question, he had 47 receptions. That puts him 73rd on the list in terms of receptions in the NFL.
Yeah,
but he's one of the highest paid people now, receivers, right?
But I'll just say almost nobody had 3 receivers at that level where any of the 3 of them could take the game over. Like
I get it.
Nobody else was like that.
No, you're absolutely right. And I hope as a number 2 without 3 viable options this year.
I understand.
I hope he earns that money.
Yeah, I'm reading your mail. To me, they all look interchangeably as 1 and 2s. Like they're all that good to me anyways. So
yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's easier for someone to look good at a 3 position when you've got a great 1 and 2.
I totally understand. So we'll find out. We'll find out if the money was well spent or if they overspent.
So much guarantee too.
Speaking of overspending, and anything above 0 is an overspend. Geno Smith to the Jets. Like Jet fans, like what is? You've got to be joking. This is just an admission that he's a placeholder. I mean, I know they're building up massive draft capital, and they're probably the Raiders have a ton of capital now too, but I'm assuming they're taking Mendoza, so that means the Raiders are likely off the board for next year, which leaves the Jets, no matter how they finish this year, they're going to have so much capital they can control next year's draft if they want to move around in it with all of the picks they're going to have available. And next year's QB class is arguably going to be significantly deeper than this year's.
Yeah. I mean, listen, someone has to take the ball from the center. That's all this is. So they've got a veteran, they've got someone who's been there before. But if it wasn't him, I don't know who else would you put in that position.
Taylor,
no, exactly.
Whoever's there, just let it. I mean that. Okay,
Tua would have been worse. Cousins probably would have been worse. I mean, it's I don't know.
It's just laughable. This guy's terrible. I've always described him as a guy cosplaying a starting QB. He's not a starting QB. He's in the press conferences. He talks. He does. He's like, oh, I get to pretend that I'm a starter. He's not a starting QB. Jets fans know this. Raiders fans absolutely know this.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I guess the Seattle thing is more of an anomaly than what the regular.
I mean, they moved the ball, but they were never going to go anywhere with him. I mean, look, they get rid of him and they win the Super Bowl. So I think Jets fans know that that's just a placeholder. So
Yeah,
whatever.
for sure. I think someone that can make a difference is going to be Kenneth Walker III. That's why I'm wearing the Chiefs stuff today. I mean, listen, Pacheco was good. Like I was high on him before. Kenneth Walker's just a step up, like, if you could balance that out a little bit or at least a little bit more from between Mahomes and the running game, they're still going to need help in the offensive line. But that, I think, potentially could be a great match. And that's going to be significantly harder to defend.
Well, Pacheco runs. Okay, so Pacheco puts in 110% effort on every play, which you would think is not something worth mentioning. But in the NFL, if you watch enough film, there's a lot of guys who take plays off, and that's not one of them. That guy,
No.
but he's limited. His vision is limited. Like if you watch him play, he just doesn't have the vision to find the gap more often than not when it's there. Like he'll run to where he's assigned to run, but it's rare that he finds the cutback lane or he finds the extra space that doesn't happen to be there. Walker, first of all, has home run speed, which I don't think Pacheco has. Pacheco runs with violence and aggression, which is a nice switch up, and having it fresher legs with him throughout the game will be good. But Walker can do the little Le'Veon Bell delay, find the spot, and then take off. He kind of showed a lot this year. So I think Walker's seems to be a complete back, and he's a one crease and gone home run threat, which that makes that offense pretty dangerous now because I don't think in Mahomes' entire career they've had a running back quite like that, like a skill set quite like Walker.
Yeah, I agree. I think this will be one of the best running backs he's had, and he's, like you said, he's a complete back. So that's going to be a great addition, I think, for them.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of who else here's made a serious splash. I guess the San Francisco 49ers, I was kind of surprised they took Evans.
Yeah.
If I guess from a 49ers perspective, if Ricky Pearsall is truly going to be playing I don't know if you even call him a slot, but the role that he has will be complemented by Evans if the two of them are on the field and both stay healthy, which is a big if for the 49ers. Obviously, everyone gets hurt on that team constantly. And Evans' big issue this last year was he did get hurt. But let's just say they both stay healthy. That's a big time compliment because they do play like a different style. And that offense has been sorely lacking like consistent wide receiver play. I mean, 2 years ago, they paid Ayuk. The guy never played again.
Yeah, I know.
So they've still been scrambling in that receiver room.
No, and there's some players I'm worried about injury, and there's some players I'm worried about injury more. And Evans is not one of them, okay? Like he missed a lot of time last year. That's true. But before then, you could pencil him in for 1,000 yards and a lot of reception, 15 games played, you know what I mean? So if it's just an anomaly last year and he's like he is regularly, that, like you said, I think that's a great fit. It's great for Pearsall, just like we were saying. We've said it before. The Evans is a number one receiver. Pearsall is a fantastic 2 or 3 receiver versus having to be the guy. So then when you add Kittle in there and McCaffrey had over 100 receptions last year. Not everyone realizes that. So that is a pretty dynamic passing attack now.
Yeah, as of time of recording, has anyone made a move for Juwan Jennings?
Not that I know
they
of.
Could theoretically be bringing him back too, or I don't know if the Evans signing basically eliminates him from staying on the team. I still think they need more receiver help, but we'll see. So then there is some chatter, or at least some speculation as to how high Jeremiah Love is going, given the moves some of these teams have made who are drafting at the 8, 9, 10 spot, and already took running backs. It must mean took running backs in free agency. It must mean that they all think Love is going top 4 or 5. If these other teams have already made moves thinking he's not going to make it to us. So if that's the case, people think he's, I mean, this is that whole controversy, but do you really take a running back that high?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I know. And listen, that's going to be a really polarizing pick because it's if it's picked high, the expectations are really high. But like you said, there's in the past, there's been a lot of examples of running backs being really good, later on. So, you're right. I think the thought is that he's not going to go past 5. So,
yeah.
and at time of recording, Jennings not been signed as of right now.
Right. So there's a chance he sticks. If he sticks, if they can afford to fit it all together, that actually might be a pretty good receiver room.
It'll be the best receivers room that Purdy's had in a while.
Yep.
The other move that I really liked was David Montgomery to the Texans. Like I've always liked him and Gibbs at Detroit were great. Montgomery was a great back. Gibbs was just outstanding. I thought it was great that they shared carries because they kept both of them fresh. But Montgomery can absolutely be a standalone back, and I think that's a great fit with him in Houston.
Yeah, and it looks like Mixon is just done, and they kind of have they're a bit of a similar style. And Woody Marks is good, so now you've got almost another dual running back threat there. If Montgomery's still got some years in him there, so that I think that you're right. That's a good move too, and it's just because that running back room in the Texans is just there was never two that were healthy.
Yeah.
Even though they had a stable, it was like we can never have our two top running backs seem to never be healthy this past year. So hopefully those two can stay healthy. And
the other thing I'll just point out too with the Houston, because I was really worried about obviously with the Stroud and the turnovers and things like that. And you're always a little concerned about the offensive line, but they've re-signed their left tackle Trent Brown. They've re-signed Braden Smith, and they've also got no, Braden Smith came from another team, and then
Braden Smith came from the Colts. Yeah.
So at least seem like they're shoring that up a little bit too, which is nice.
Well, re-signing, I think they still need to add some depth there too, but we'll see what happens. I guess okay. So one other offensive player that made headlines that I'm not so sure the Bills are going to be happy with is DJ Moore. So I was paying attention to JT O'Sullivan's analysis of the Bears all season, and DJ Moore is a number one receiver, talented player who gives you 100% effort 50% of the time. And it's almost like all they did was get themselves another diva receiver that you can only count on some of the time. Kind of like Diggs all over again. And now Diggs isn't even on the Patriots either. But so, I mean, to me, that is the wrong move to try to shore up a receiver room for the Bills. Now the argument is Brady used to coach him at Carolina, so maybe he has a rapport and maybe he knows that compared to the Bears, maybe Brady knows how to get what DJ Moore has to offer out of him better than the Bears did.
Yep.
So, or don't even ask him to do stuff that you know he's not going to do at 100%. I don't know. Whatever it is, he seemed to be a catch-22 at the Bears because he can have the game-winning play, but he also was the one who blew it in the playoffs and cut short on the route that ended up ending the game.
Yeah, you're right.
So is that the guy you want to make a Super Bowl run here? You want the guy who gives up on a route in the playoffs, in overtime.
Yeah. What I will say, I agree with everything you're saying. What I will say is that for attitude stuff, like for things like this, a change of scenery can sometimes make a difference, right? So, and like you said, and going back to another coach that they resonated with before, maybe that's a good answer. So, that's my only positive thing I'd say about it. But other than that, I have all the same concerns you do because I don't know how that's going to work, especially in like that Bills offense where everyone eats, as Josh Allen says, right? Like, I don't know how that's going to, because typically the wide receivers want everything going to them. So I don't know how that's going to help things either. But
maybe after a couple of stops like this and back with Brady, he'll understand his role versus like demand the ball, so to speak. Just scanning the NFL has a pretty good page here with all of the latest moves. A pretty good move here, Jalen Phillips to Carolina. I don't know if 120 million is a lot because that guy, man, some of his injuries, but last year when he was healthy, he looked pretty good for the stint he had on the Eagles. So the Panthers might be putting something together here. I think Bryce Young's good enough. Like I think he's good enough. He showed enough at the end of the year that if they start building a bit more around this team could maybe go deeper this year. We'll see. But I think he's a legit edge player.
No, and like we said before about with Crosby, when you have a really good pass rush, that can really change things with the team, you know. So, and then like you said, Carolina might be on the way moving up. The other team I was going to point out was the Rams because I really think getting amazing DBs like McDuffie, and then they also had the Jay Watson. I think is going to be that's basically the guy that he played with before, but they're re-signing, getting those two DBs. I think it could be really good. So that because they're already Rams already had like a really good defense, and so DB was one of the things they needed to shore up, and I think those are high quality people. So I think it's just going to be the defense could be even better next year, which is pretty scary because their defense really led them this year.
Um, so a team, not so much for things that they've signed, but people they've lost. The Packers. So the quote notable departures here are Malik Willis, Romeo Doubs, Quay Walker, Trayvon Diggs, Nate Hobbs. Like it's kind of a lot of big time players, at least players that sound like they used to seriously contribute are all not there anymore. So obviously they know what they have to do what they have to do as far as the salary cap. I mean, Rashawn Gary too, he's gone to Cowboys. So that's kind of like a lot of big time names that were contributing on that team that are just not there anymore. And to me, I don't know if it sounds like the biggest one, but Malik Willis is such a good backup QB. Like he might actually be a number one starting QB talent. And man, in the NFL, so many QBs end up having to take snaps. Like Mac Jones had to float a part of the season for the Niners. The Texans, their backup came in and I think won 3 or 4 games in a row. So it's man, having 2 capable QBs like really, really matters for the teams that go a long way here. So without Willis, if Love goes down for any amount of time, I mean, it was just really nice to have that, and now they don't have it.
Yeah. Well, and to your point too, I'm looking at what they've added. They've added they've re-signed an offensive lineman, and they got a linebacker and a DB. So none of those are in the positions that you said in terms of what they've lost. Really,
well, one linebacker they lost, but
I mean, like that.
I doubt they added somebody as good.
No, so like it's Zaire Franklin, who's like not bad, but I mean, But to your point, I think they've got a lot of work to do. So they've either got more signings coming up, or they feel like they're really good about the draft, apparently. So,
and it's just, I guess the Chiefs know what they're doing as far as not having McDuff anymore. Whoever's going to be replacing him, that's I don't know enough about it. Maybe Chiefs fans probably know, but just revisiting them as far as that was a big name move. But as far as I can tell, they've just downgraded at in the secondary because of it. So I mean, they must know where their depth is and what they might have. Staying in that division, the Raiders obviously have been making serious moves, moving Crosby. They have 11 draft picks coming up, 2 first rounders this year, 2 first rounders next year. They added Jalen Naylor, so it's pretty good. Linderbaum,
really good center,
really good. Nakobe Dean, and speaking of linebacker who just left the Packers, Quay Walker. To me, this team is already significantly better. It almost doesn't even matter who's at QB. It can't get any worse. Geno Smith was just horrendous. So they're in a good position. It was the right move to move Crosby. Crosby's in his prime. This team is rebuilding, getting all of that capital for him, plus freeing up cap space. If they do it right, and that's a big if they do it right, I think the Raiders could have a Patriots-like turnaround in a couple of years. Again, it all depends on if Mendoza's it. But if he is, they're in position to really rebuild this team fast.
Yep, I agree. I think I was surprised at the amount of signings they've made in addition to getting the draft picks. So because like you said, I feel pretty good about some of their free agent signings. Like you said, Lindenbaum's great. Kobe Dean was really good. I even think Naylor's good as a wide receiver. So
I don't know. What do you got? You got anything else
I think
that
that's
was
pretty much
sticking out for you?
That covers the main one. I mean, like, Tua going to be picked up by the Falcons, I think is good just for we talked about that briefly with because Penix said it might not be ready right at the beginning, but that's, no, those are all, we covered all the main ones, I think.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think here. Who else? So the Steelers are an interesting case here. So they signed Michael Pittman, which again I think is a great player, and Rico Dowdle,
Yep.
Jamel Dean, cornerback. So they made some signings here, but who the hell's playing quarterback for this team? Like, it just, none of this matters if you don't have, and I don't think Rodgers is any kind of answer at all. So maybe they're in a holding pattern waiting for next year's draft as well.
I'd be surprised if Rodgers doesn't go back there, but yes, that is a concern.
Yeah, you think? Let's see. The Seahawks, you think $51 million over 3 years is a lot for Rashid Shaheed?
Yes, and that sort of was my takeaway. Like once Pierce got that money and Shaheed got that money, like it just feels like it's a receiver year. And so it feels like a lot for that. But I mean, that's just sort of, I think, is what the market is. So,
yeah, I mean, there is, I don't know who else made some other moves. Oh, the Commanders signed the edge.
Yeah, really good edge.
What's his name from Owe from the Chargers?
Yeah.
That I was surprised, maybe not surprised. He's really good, but that's a lot of money. But he really flashed this past year, and it was obvious. Okay, this guy's legit. This guy's gonna he looks like he's gonna have a breakout year this year. So it's interesting to see who ended up getting him. The Commanders seriously needed some help. They need help on both lines, but they definitely needed pass rush help. So I'd be looking for him to have a legit proper breakout year this year.
Yeah, and to your point about the backup quarterback, I think re-signing Marcus Mariota was good because he came in and played well too. And as we said, like your backup's going to get some snaps, so I think that's also good for Washington.
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia, Goddard's gone, Blankenship's gone. I mean, they did re-sign Jordan Davis, but man, is that team ever looking really different? Like a lot from the Super Bowl team. This team looks a lot different here on defense. I guess at some point you just got to decide where the money's got to be allocated. You just can't keep all of that talent all in one spot for very long. So that's another thing that this free agency is making me think of. I have this theory here, if you want to go with it. It's this idea that NFL teams need to have a shorter outlook, and especially at quarterback, you got to be looking short term. If you don't have, to me, now I could be wrong, but to me, if the quarterback doesn't show serious signs of being a franchise guy by year 2 or 3, just move on. And paying someone like Tua was a massive mistake. Now maybe I'm contradicting myself, because was it year 3 when he had the big year?
Well, I mean, he led the league in passing, and that's why he got the extension after that. So I mean, it was really at that point you would have thought like you've got your person. So
I guess maybe some analysts just never bought it, even when they did have the big year. But
I mean, I think Sam Darnold would disagree with you, but that doesn't happen very often. So
it's just not obvious. It's frustrating watching teams blow money on like guys like Kirk Cousins and Kyler Murray and Tua, and you've hamstrung your team because the cap hit for Tua is like $90 million. I guess they can spread it around a little bit over a couple of years, but you've just hamstrung the team for half a decade. And now you're rebuilding. Whereas the Commanders know they have a franchise guy. They knew the very, very first year. So maybe I'm just projecting some of these guys who show the talent right away. Like CJ Stroud went to the playoffs right away, set all kinds of rookie records. Within 2 years, Caleb Williams is showing he's got what it's going to take. Brock Purdy came out of the gates like a beast. Like he didn't lose for 12 games or something crazy like that. And he went straight to the Super Bowl within 3 years. I guess what I'm looking at is that type of success that's happening in the first couple of years seems to be where it makes sense to actually dump the money on the rookie extension, kind of like with Burrow and Mahomes. Like it was obvious right away. But some of these other guys where you're still not sure and you're still not sure. I don't know. Maybe there's just no way out of this one. It just super sucks for the fans of a team who dump a bunch of money on a guy at the end of their rookie deal to just realize, oh, this guy doesn't have it. Now we're rebuilding. We're just perpetually in rebuild, like the Jets and the Dolphins and some of these teams that just can never get out of their own, with the Raiders all this time. Like hopefully Mendoza's it, but it's almost like a 5-year runway is too long, or even till the end of the rookie deal is too long. I don't know. It's maybe this is all just hindsight.
No. I'm with you. I mean, I look at it. I kind of look at it the other way. Like when you have when you have someone like a Stroud or someone like that for that hits it early,
Uh-huh.
then it seems like it's a very straightforward GM decision because then it's like we're going to surround this person while they're on the rookie contract with as much talent as humanly possible, and that's all 1 to 2 year deals.
Uh-huh.
Because we're trying to win right now, essentially. And then because that's a great formula, right? And then but like to your point, when if that doesn't immediately hit, then things get tricky because then you're like, we don't know if it's going to be up or down. We don't know if we're going to spend all this money on the defense and the offense can't work or it's but it's there's so many things like Stafford was really good at Detroit, but they had never had a chance to like really go far, but
Um,
like and so it's even then there's ways to screw it up. But like, yeah, but I agree with you. Like there's nothing in sports as for a fan, there's nothing worse than a really bad contract, right? So like Tua's extension is an absolute killer because it like you said, you're the team's it's the worst case scenario. The team's not doing well and they've invested a ton of money. And that's just super frustrating as a fan. Or when they get injured, and then it's just dead money. Like the Deshaun Watson contract was horrendous,
this
so
might be the worst in all of pro sports, at least North
yeah,
American
and it
pro
was
sports.
and like you said, they're gonna be and you talked about it earlier, Cleveland's defense is great, but like without they've got zero on offense and the and that contract really hamstrung them.
Well, isn't it still the highest paid QB on the team?
It might be.
And they have 7 or 8 that are still getting paid?
Yeah, it's
Like, it's
crazy.
just what a disaster. I mean, I guess this is a time of year where since there's no games to talk about, fans will redirect their attention towards management and, like, how are these teams really handling them? So, like, for instance, the Bengals haven't done anything so far. Now, maybe their plan is something through the draft, but man, a team that's struggling that badly on defense, you would hope is gonna do something here, but maybe it's just the recency right now, and we still have the entire draft to go, and it's not like free agency's over, so they still have room to move. But man, there were some players they could have used, and I guess that brings up Trey Hendrickson. He's still out there.
Mhm.
He's as of time of recording, he hasn't been signed. I'm just scrolling here to the Bucks. A couple of additions they made. Kenneth Gainwell, I think, is like legit. That
Oh,
guy's
yeah.
a proper dual threat running back who can catch. And Alex Anzalone, that's a nice little addition there too.
Oh, that's really good.
So, I mean, I don't know what their plan is to replace Evans. I guess they're going to have to draft somebody. Because do they
Yeah.
need somebody? Or are they just assuming Ibuka's going to pick it up and then it'll just be him and Godwin? I don't know, because Ibuka had that wild beginning and then sort of tailed off. I don't know if he got like seriously injured or something, but they seem like a team it's like to strike while the iron's hot, but like their inexplicable drop off at the end of the year. They
Yeah.
started the year
That
so
was
good.
yeah, that was
So
really bad. No, and just the free agency isn't over. The draft hasn't happened yet, so it's not like this is the team. I
mhm,
think things can still change. So it's just surprise again as a fan. If you're a fan of Cincinnati or Tampa, like you're sort of, you're not so like some of these other teams that have gone out and got like 6 to 8 people, and you feel better. Like that
right.
we've really improved.
Mhm.
It's not like that consistently across the NFL.
Yeah, it's mostly just because right now we have nothing else to talk about, so I'm just looking at what actually has happened here.
Yeah.
Um, as of time of recording, it seems as though Jennings is gonna be released. He's not gonna be part of the Niners.
Hmm.
But I don't know that we've seen anyone else sign him yet, but it says
No,
here
at the time of recording, he hasn't been signed yet.
he's definitely gonna be a departure. Um, circling back, I spending way too much time on the Jets. I thought Breece Hall should have gone somewhere for some draft capital. He's really good. I actually thought he was gonna be the one to end up on the Chiefs.
Oh,
He's
man, that would
so
have been
good.
great.
But I mean, I guess he's the one thing worth watching on that team on offense because it sure as hell won't be Geno Smith. It just sucks for those fans. I don't know. It's such a bummer. It's just
Yeah.
such a bummer.
Well,
Giants,
it's a bummer to know in March that the team's not gonna be good. Like,
they're not going to be good.
no,
They're
and
really
that's
not going to be good.
no, and it's just that's as a fan, that's really tough.
One thing I do like, the Giants added Isaiah Likely.
Mm-hmm.
Here's his chance. This is his chance to really like show up and be like tight end number 1 here. I know that he had flashes on the Ravens, but Andrews is still really the number 1 there. But Likely has the skill. He has the skill to be like legit. Got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. That was a pretty deep dive.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's lots that we didn't get to. We're just kind of poking around, seeing what stuck out to us as far as like notable moves and notable names here. But we'll see. Man, it sucks. The offseason just sucks. We got so long to go here. I'm trying to count down the days. It's depressing how many days there are.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just shifting to Florida Gators Final Four.
Yeah, basketball conference tournaments will be coming up this week, so that'll be good.
Yep. All right. So that's all I got on my notes. So I guess we can cut it off there.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks for making it this far into the video. If you're still with us and you like what we have going on, we'd super appreciate a like and a subscribe. That would go a long way to growing the channel, and we'd really appreciate it, like I said. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.